Welcome to another edition of How to K2. Today we're going to be continuing our series on K2 Blackpoint and digging into process portals. As we start off on our process portal homepage, the first thing that pops up for us here is the work list. Now I don't have any outstanding tasks or they'd be listed here. Next, we have a list of processes that are being managed by this particular process portal. You can see their name, when they were deployed, who deployed them, the number of versions, the default version, and priority. We can also see the management work list. Now if I had tasks that were actually assigned to someone right now, and I had permissions to see that, they would show up here. I also see the instances summary that tells me a little bit about what processes are running on my server. Now I can affect which processes are being managed by this process portal by going here and going to Settings. I can now see a list of all of the processes that are deployed to K2 and select which ones I'm managing from which process portal. So I can go ahead and add a couple here, and that'll change the screen on the home page. Now we can see a couple of additional ones here at the bottom, and because now those are additional processes that are being managed, I see new tasks in the management work list that are associated with that process. Because they are here, I can select the drop-down list and perform a few actions on there, be it delegate, redirect, or release. I can also see who they are for. On the left-hand side, I see a very familiar type interface once I've gotten used to SharePoint. I can see the instance management where I can actually look at all of the processes that are currently active, that are currently stopped, or that are currently in error. If I click on one of these, I'm taken to a site where that I can actually perform actions on those processes. So I can see one that's in error here that I can go ahead and stop that, delete it, or submit it back so it retries. If I go to active, I see a similar list only with different actions available to me. Now from this drop-down list, I can actually stop it, delete it, or move this process on and have it go to a different activity. Let's go back to our home page. One of the things you'll notice is this same navigation stays with me throughout the site and wherever I'm going. An important piece of process management and process portals, etc., is the ability to run reports on the processes. So let's take a look at an example of that at being process information. For this process, I can select which processes I'm interested in reporting on. In this case, let's go ahead and select all of them. Next, I want to select a date range that will be applicable to which processes I'm looking for, and a status. Do I just want to report on processes that are in error or currently active, running? In this case, I just want to do running or completed. I want to see them by the average duration of each process and have it in a column view. Let's go ahead and run that report and see what it looks like. Now I can see the different durations that are for each process, and I can see which ones are taking longer and which ones are taking less time. This will help me figure out bottlenecks in my processes, etc. Let's take a look at some of the process management functions that I can do. I can set up different action rights that are available to users, take a look at the error log, drill in more to that management work list that you saw on the home page, manage roles, which is a very important piece of building out a K2 process by involving roles. I can set those up in here. But let's take a look at process rights, which is a very common piece that you'll be using as you drill into your various processes. I can see each process and which users have rights within that process and what rights they have. For instance, let's take a look at Mike, who has start and view rights on the leave request process. Let's go ahead and edit Mike's rights and go in and add some additional ones. At this point, I want to add Mike as an admin, so I'll go ahead and add him as that admin and select OK. It's very easy to go ahead and add additional users or change people's rights, etc. You can see now that he has admin, start, and view. Another piece that I may be interested in is the versions. Which version of what processes am I running on my server, and which process is actually currently being used? For instance, on the travel request process, Currently, version 13 is the default process. But if I want to roll back because I just deployed the process today, but something had gone wrong, I can go ahead and select 12 and select as my default. Then now we can go down and see that 12 is my default. So let's go into the administration menu. We can see all the different things that I can do here, including setting server rights, which will give me the ability to control what users are allowed to administer the server, as well as export processes to that server. I can also control the roles available here, as we spoke a moment ago, and working hours and out-of-office users, as well as do management work lists that we've seen before, and set up different error profiles that helps me to better filter out different errors or from different processes, etc. Within this area, I can also figure out my licensed users and licensing available to me within K2. Well, that's a quick lap around process portals. I hope you found it useful.